buongiorno, welcome back to my channel. Today is another episode of my 7 Days of Christmas series where I go through everything that I learned in 2022, so the best products, best releases, my most used fragrances or products and all that good stuff. And in today's video, it's not about only 2022 but also the previous year. So I am going to tell you about what I learned after testing hyped up niche fragrances during these 2 years. As you all know, testing hyped up niche fragrances is a permanent series here on my channel, and I love doing these videos and do a first impression and then a full review, and I learn a lot and I love how you interact with me in the comments down below. So please also on this video, don't forget to tell me what do you think about these fragrances that I'm going to talk about. And even if you disagree with me, it's okay. I love to chat with you guys. So don't forget to tell me about hyped up niche fragrances that you tested and what do you think about them in the comments down below. So during this series, in the past 2 years, I tested 58 fragrances in total. Of course, I tested more also hyped up fragrances, but I am going to include today only the ones that are in this series, and I'm going to divide them in fragrances that I absolutely love, that I think are worth the hype and that I actually bought, fragrances that personally didn't work for me but I would highly recommend and I find they are worth the hype for sure, and fragrances that I just can't see the hype behind them. Of course, this is my personal opinion, so don't get upset if I mention one of your favorite fragrances as something that I didn't get like the hype behind. Fragrances are subjective after all, and you can tell me in the comments down below why do you think I am wrong and why do you love this fragrance. And before starting, I just want to mention that a special episode of testing hyped up niche fragrances is coming very soon, where I go through hyped up fragrances that I tested that are not included in the series. So don't forget to subscribe and also to hit the notification bell so you'll get notified when I upload any new video. I have more episodes coming in this series. You have a playlist down below. You can click on it and you will find all the previous episodes. And without further ado, let's start. I am going to start on a positive note. So the fragrances that I tested that I absolutely loved and I actually bought. And from 58 fragrances, only 5 worked out for me and I found them utterly beautiful and worth the hype and the money for me. From my first episode, the fragrance that took my heart is AMOUAGE Honor. This is a gardenia fragrance. I actually have a gardenia tree here in the corner. I love gardenias, and this is one of the most beautiful gardenias I've ever smelled. It's an AMOUAGE, so it's very opulent, very strong, amazing performance and sillage, and the gardenia here is not so green, so it's one of the most natural gardenia fragrances that I've smelled, but it doesn't have this green edge that natural gardenia has that is also present in other fragrances. And I know what you're saying, it's AMOUAGE, it's extremely expensive, yes, but the smell for me is worth it. And also AMOUAGE is one of the niche brands where you are paying for quality. Longevity and sillage is never an issue with AMOUAGE fragrances at all, so I actually spray only 2 maximum. If I want to be like loud, I will spray 3 times from this fragrance and I am good to go for the rest of the day. It's a very strong fragrance, so definitely for strictly gardenia lovers. It's not for the faint of heart. And AMOUAGE is not a brand that I would recommend for like people who are just like beginning their niche journey. They are very out there, very niche. They are not your typical fragrances, except of the collection that this is part of. So it's called the Secret Garden collection, and it has this one. It has Love Tuberose, Love Mimosa, Lilac Love, and I think also Blossom Love. And I would recommend all of these except maybe Blossom Love. I did not like very much and I didn't get the hype, honestly. But this one just took my heart. It's my favorite AMOUAGE actually. Currently, I absolutely love it and would highly recommend it for gardenia lovers. From the same episode, I have another fragrance. So I think my first episode was the most successful one because I fell in love with Juliette Has a Gun Vanilla Vibes. Now, this is your typical, what you would call summer tropical fragrance. It's a salty vanilla and it's quite simplistic, which is what I love about this fragrance. It's not mixed with so many typical tropical notes that, I don't know, that I personally dislike, because I am not a fan of very heavy, creamy, dense coconuts or tropical fragrances. I need my summer fragrances to be light, fresh. That said, this is not a fragrance that I wear during summer, to be honest. I actually wear it any time of the year except of summer because it's just too strong for me to wear during summer. And since it's such a simple fragrance, it's perfect for layering. So if you want to give a tropical feeling to any other fragrance, you can add this one, especially with floral fragrances. It works perfectly. It was Tuberose who recommended layering this one with hibiscus balm from Erin, and I tried that combination and it worked beautifully. Actually, it's a great combination, but it didn't work for me personally, again because when I added this one to hibiscus balm, it took the freshness out of it. And yeah, this is what makes hibiscus balm for me so special. But anyway, it's a gorgeous scent. I did not regret buying it. And to be honest, I don't use this as much as I hoped, but still it's a fragrance that survived so many declutters and I still love it. So Juliette Has a Gun Vanilla Vibes. On my second episode, I totally fell in love with another Juliette Has a Gun, and it's my beloved Not a Perfume Superdose. Now, this one is an enhanced version of Not a Perfume, and it's a very, again, simple fragrance. It's a molecular fragrance, and it has only one note, and it's Citalox, which is like ambroxan, and I definitely prefer it to Molecule 01, which I also tested in this series, and other like molecular fragrances, because it's strong enough for me to smell it. And also it's perfect for layering. You can wear it with any fresh citrusy fragrance, especially if it has a woody touch. Oh my god, it is perfect with this one. I tried it with every single fresh fragrance in my collection and it worked perfectly. It does modify the fragrance a little bit, so it's not like it adds longevity to the fragrance and that's it. No, it does modify it because it is the Superdose, so it's a little bit strong. And I love to wear this one on its own. Oh my god, this is the perfect clean girl aesthetic. You will smell clean, fresh out of the shower, you know. I love to wear this one like an after shower scent. Beautiful scent. And during summer, I sometimes actually wear this one to bed to feel clean, you know, and fresh. So Juliette Has a Gun and Not a Perfume Superdose for any minimalist out there. With such a success with these two episodes, the third one was not as much and I didn't like any of the fragrances. However, on episode 4, I think, I discovered XERJOFF Bouquet Ideale. It's very similar to a Middle Eastern fragrance called Kalimat from Arabian Oud, which I actually have in my husband's collection. They are extremely similar, but at the end I decided to get Bouquet Ideale because it's more smooth than Kalimat. Anyway, Bouquet Ideale is this warm, ambery, spicy fragrance. Everything that you would associate with a Middle Eastern fragrance in general, but here it's a little bit more smooth. It's not as loud. It has a good longevity, but it's not a screamer. It doesn't really project much. With, for example, Kalimat, you need one spray. Oh my god, when my husband uses that fragrance, the room smells of that fragrance the whole day and it projects like crazy. But since I am not into these loud, you know, beast mode fragrances, I prefer Bouquet Ideale from XERJOFF, and it is from the Casamurati line actually, so it's less expensive than the regular line from XERJOFF. Now, another fragrance that I added to my collection, but it's not opened yet because it's under the tree here, is AMOUAGE Lilac Love. I tried this one in my last episode and I actually was not sure about it, but there was something about it that made me return to it every single time. It's, as the name says, it's a lilac fragrance, but it has a gourmandish touch. It's warm and sweet. So again, like Honor, AMOUAGE took like the sharp, almost green touch that lilac has, but with Lilac Love you don't get it, and it's combined with this warm and cozy notes. It's beautiful, it's powdery, it's feminine, and again very long lasting and very projecting like typical AMOUAGE fragrance. So that was Lilac Love from AMOUAGE. So these were the fragrances that I personally loved, that I was committed to buy a full bottle. But that doesn't mean that there are more fragrances that I would definitely recommend, that I personally find worth the hype. They are just not part of my personal like aesthetic, like they are not for me for some reason or another. So I have here actually a list. So the first one is Diptyque Eau Duelle, and it's a gorgeous scent. If you love vanilla and you want more, I don't want to say green vanilla, but it has a little bit of a green touch in it. It's really, really a beautiful, cozy vanilla fragrance that is not sugary sweet. You know, the problem with vanilla fragrances in general, at least for me, are that a lot of them either are of this high quality vanilla that has this leather animalic touch to it, because this is how real vanilla smells, or are this synthetic, cheap, sweet vanillas that are like the stuff you put in your cakes. This one is just like in the middle, so a perfect vanilla fragrance. And I think it's one of the fragrances that you would love if you love Manifesto from Yves Saint Laurent. I personally don't like these kind of fragrances in general, but I would highly recommend it if you love the genre. Second fragrance I'm a little bit on the fence about. So the second one is Creed Virgin Island Water. This is a very, very nice summer fresh fragrance. The smell is definitely, I would say, in my opinion, worth the hype, because it smells like a beach, but not like your sweet coconut fragrance. It's right up my alley. My problem with Virgin Island Water is the price tag. So if it wasn't a Creed fragrance, so comes with the Creed price tag, I would definitely recommend it. But I don't know, it's not a scent or it's not a scent profile, let's say, and also performance that I would pay so much money for. So this is a fragrance that I would recommend if, you know, money is not an issue for you. Next is an AMOUAGE fragrance, and it's Love Tuberose. And if I were a tuberose lover, I would definitely get myself this fragrance. One of the best tuberose fragrances ever created, in my opinion. And let's be honest, tuberose is one of the notes that are very, very difficult for a lot of people, because some people associate it with like grandmothers, like with old generation, so it gives an old-fashioned vibe to a fragrance, and some people don't like it. Like, for example, me, it has a very indolic touch that I don't like. Here it is still indolic, but to a limit. So I was actually like thinking, should I buy this fragrance or not? But then I noticed that almost all the tuberose fragrances that I ended up buying, I then decluttered. Tuberose is just not a note for me, but if you love tuberose, this is one of the best long-lasting, projecting fragrances you will ever smell. It is crazy when it comes to longevity and sillage, and the scent itself is quite nice. So it's, again, has a little bit like all like this series from AMOUAGE has a little bit of a warm, gourmandish touch mixed with the floral note. So I personally would definitely recommend it for tuberose lovers. Next is Initio Rehab. And honestly, there is nothing wrong about this fragrance. Absolutely nothing. The only issue is that this is not unisex, in my opinion. This is quite a masculine fragrance. I imagine that some women can pull it off, but I personally can't. It's woody and aromatic. It was not for me, but I would definitely recommend it for men, and has, like all Initio fragrances, quite a projecting and amazing performance. So yeah, I found Rehab definitely worth the hype, in my opinion. Next one is another men fragrance, and it's Layton, and I definitely get the hype. It's a gorgeous, complex fragrance that has a sweetness. It's masculine, but it has this sweet touch. And I have to mention the following. For me personally, would consider that a men fragrance. It's not even unisex, but I let some men test it, and they said it's, for them, borderline feminine. So they see it as a unisex fragrance, but it's borderline feminine. I personally would consider it a men fragrance. It's not like extremely masculine, but yeah, although the sweetness, it has this typical men, you know, sharpness in it that I, as a woman, don't like, but I would love to smell it on a man. Next is definitely a fragrance that I would highly recommend, and that is NISHANE 100 Silent Ways. Yes, another tuberose fragrance. And that one, actually, I was debating if I should buy it or not. And I'm still not sure, actually. I am trying to test it more and more because I am afraid to commit a full bottle and then discover, like other fragrances, that I'm not wearing it because the tuberose is not for me. So I have a decant. I will, you know, use it up and see. But this is, for me, the best beginner tuberose fragrance for sure, and one of the best tuberose fragrances in general. In general, it's a gorgeous scent, and the tuberose, although the main note or the main star, it's not like in your face. And can we talk about the name? 100 Silent Ways. This name is just genius. Love the name, and the brand for me is, again, like AMOUAGE, a niche house that I would definitely recommend, also because of the quality. All their fragrances are extrait de parfum. They are, for the majority, if we like exclude the fresh fragrances, are all very long lasting and very projecting, so performance is not an issue at all. And they are also on the niche side, so they're a little bit daring, a little bit out there, not your typical, you know, fragrance, but not as much as AMOUAGE, actually. So yeah, and it's a brand that I want to discover more of for sure. Next is a XERJOFF fragrance, and that is Dama Bianca, and it's almost the same like Eau Duelle. Not that they are very similar. What I mean is that they have the same vibe. So it's a vanilla fragrance, but again, not like animalic and not too sweet. It is sweet vanilla, but not too sweet. It's mixed with some freshness, some citruses, and it's not a very loud vanilla. So it remains like a cloud around you. And I love to smell this fragrance on other people, but I personally wouldn't wear it. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I love the sillage. I love this soft, you know, airy vanilla smell that comes from people who wear this fragrance. But I personally, it's not me, it doesn't represent me, but I would highly recommend it, again, from the Casamurati line. So although the performance is not really great, yeah, for the price tag, I would say if you can get it on a deal, it's worth it, in my opinion. Another not niche brand that I tested is Bois de Riz from Van Cleef & Arpels. And how can I explain this fragrance? If you love these clean, light, woody fragrances like Bois d'Argent from Dior, or even Atelier Cologne Santal Karma, you would love this one. And don't worry if you don't like iris. I personally don't like it, but I actually like this fragrance. And it would have been on my wish list, or already have a bottle of it, if it wasn't for the fact, like, for these kind of light, you know, woody, clean fragrances, I have Santal Karma already in my collection, so I don't need this fragrance. Not that they are like similar fragrances, they have just the same vibe, the same aesthetic. So it's office friendly, signature worthy scent that is quite inoffensive, doesn't have the sharpness that I associate with Iris fragrances, signature worthy, just an easygoing scent. And it's not an expensive brand actually, and you can always find it on a deal, so I would highly recommend Bois de Riz if you are looking for a soft, light, clean, inoffensive scent. Next is another XERJOFF, and it's Italica. Yes, I am recommending Italica. I personally would never wear this fragrance, never. But this is the most gourmand fragrance I've ever tested. It's what I imagine gourmands to be, so it's gourmand's lover's dream. It smells like something you can eat, like toffee, like it's almond, it's toffee, it's edible, it's really edible. And the thing is, it remains like that for the entirety of the fragrance. So from the beginning till the dry down, it's an edible fragrance and has an amazing performance. So if you love gourmands, you have to have this in your collection. It's a very, very sweet fragrance, and this is why I personally would never wear it, because I'm not into these kinds of fragrances. But if you are, this is the best that I've ever tested of gourmand fragrances, hands down. Next is another fragrance that is in my last episode, and it's Chanel Coromandel. Oh my god, I get the hype. I get the hype. This is an amazing scent. It's patchouli lover's dream. It's very complex, very elegant, and it's one of these fragrances that have this amazing sillage. Sillage is 10 out of 10. It's one of these fragrances actually that I love more in the air, like to smell it off of someone than wearing it personally. And I would highly, highly recommend this fragrance for patchouli lovers. It is unisex, but to me it's a little bit borderline masculine. This one I would love to smell on a man. It's so intoxicating, beautiful sillage, and amazing scent. Yeah, I did not expect to love it as much as I do, but it's not for me, and this is why it's not on my wish list, but I would highly, highly recommend it. Next is from Buonasera, Cedrat Boise. Again, the sillage. The sillage is intoxicating on this fragrance, and it's also like Coromandel, I would say, unisex, leaning slightly on the masculine side, and I would have bought this fragrance, no doubt, if it wasn't for the fact that on my skin it pulls out very aromatic in the dry down, like very aromatic. So yeah, for me it didn't work, but I mean the sillage, beautiful fragrance. It's sweet, it's aromatic, it's fresh, it's very complex and very alluring and captivating. Like, really, this is a fragrance that is 100% worth the hype. Now let's get to the most polarizing part of this video, and these are fragrances that I would not recommend. So let's start with, oh my god, this one, Diptyque Philosophes. Oh my god, I hate this fragrance. Hate is a big word, so I don't use it lightly. I actually hate this fragrance. It smells like a fig tree, which is, I mean, they market it like that. But I don't want to smell like a fig tree. You get a little bit of the fruit, but you get the branches, you get the, like the tree, like a little bit earthy. To me, it's a disgusting fragrance, and I just can't imagine why it's so hyped. I mean, yes, if you want to smell like a fig tree, go ahead, but I don't know. I think the majority of people don't want to smell like that. So that one, I did not understand the hype at all. Next one is not a fragrance that I hate, but I just don't understand the hype. I get that some people would love it, but it's not like it deserves that amount of hype, in my opinion. It's not a bad fragrance, but I think it's overhyped in a way. It's not everybody's cup of tea again, and that is AMOUAGE Blossom Love. It has this amaretto note, and I know that some people love the smell of amaretto, but the whole thing is weird in a way, just weird. And I tried this fragrance many times, because some people said that when you continue to try this fragrance, you will eventually like it, and that is the case for a lot of fragrances actually, but it did not work out for me, and it's not something that I would recommend ever to blind buy, ever. This is you have to test this fragrance. It's not, again, it's not bad and has very good performance. It's just, when I hear about hyped fragrances, I imagine fragrances that are more, you know, universally liked, let's say. And I can't imagine that this is a universally liked fragrance, to be honest. So it's overhyped in my opinion. Next is a fragrance that I hate. I said it, and I know that some people love it, but I actually hate it. It's NASOMATTO Narcotic V, or Narcotic Vitis. Ugh. That fragrance is obnoxious. This is the word. This is the word to describe this thing. It's obnoxious, and it's not feminine, and it's feminine, yes, in the sense it's floral, but it's a deadly obnoxious fragrance. Very projecting, very loud, very indolic, and no. I can't imagine that this is a sexy fragrance, and I can't imagine that someone smelling it saying, "Oh, that's a feminine fragrance." Yeah, feminine, like in floral, yes, but like that exudes femininity, no. That is the big no for me. Next is a very loved fragrance, and it breaks my heart to say it, but it's overly synthetic and very expensive. I would never pay that much of money for such a fragrance, and that is Erba Pura from XERJOFF. If performance is something very important for you, you would love this one. It's one of the most monsters I've ever tested. I mean, while I was testing that fragrance, I had it here on my wrist, and I was writing my notes. Till now, when I open the part where I have that notebook, I can still smell Erba Pura. And it just touched my wrist, and it was like dry, it's not wet. So can you imagine the performance on that fragrance? It's a monster. And it's not a bad fragrance, by the way. It's not like a smell that I dislike. It's just I can't get why such an overly synthetic fragrance would cost as much. That's it. So that was Erba Pura. And now that I said that, I will get a lot of backlash, but anyway, this is my opinion. If you love fruity synthetic fragrances, go ahead. This is like an amazing fragrance for you. Next, we have another XERJOFF, and again, hate. And it's not a hyped up fragrance, to be honest. It's mostly a fragrance that is highly regarded by who I would consider like fragrance critique, like people who are, they know what they are talking about, and I just can't understand it. Maybe, yes, maybe I'm stupid, I don't know. This one is like a definite no for me, and it's Alexandria II from XERJOFF. It's wood with rosewood. Such, again, obnoxious fragrance. Sharp, medicinal. Ew. Just ew. I can't. That fragrance was a torture for me to test that fragrance. And I would not even love to smell it on someone. It's masculine, by the way. But yeah, if someone like wears this fragrance, I would be like, you know. Anyway, moving on. Let's get to another diptyque, and it's a L'Ombre dans l'Eau. You see, if you want to smell like a rose garden, I guess this is the fragrance for you. And what I mean by rose garden, I mean like just the luscious roses and the green touch of the branches. No. I mean also like the earthiness. I mean also some maybe roses that are dying, so they have this smell. It's a fresh green rose that is very naturalistic, by the way, but that was a big fail for me. I guess some people love this scent, but again, it's the same case where I say it's not a universally loved scent profile to get as much hype. Anyway, that was it. These were the results of 2 years of testing hyped up niche fragrances. Stay tuned for the special episodes that will come most probably end December, where I go through hyped up niche fragrances that I tested and I didn't tell you about them, like Wood for Greatness, Annie, all these very hyped up fragrances. So don't forget to subscribe and also to hit the notification bell. And if you liked this video, please like and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. Please tell me in the comments down below what do you think about the fragrances that I mentioned, and what is the hyped up fragrance that you just can't get, why it is so hyped up. Can't wait to see your comments down below. Thanks a lot for watching and see you next time. Ciao!